So Rich Eisen is saying he certainly is approaching everything as a guy who wants to stay, and he's going to break the Jets in half on Sunday, which I completely agree with.
It's going to be a dismantling.
Yeah. He's going to break him in half to finish the year. But then what? Rich Eisen says it will be a fascinating conversation. I think he's talking about the conversation with all of us on the outside, but it will certainly be a fascinating conversation that happens on the inside after this season comes to a close.
Like, because you're going to look at that roster, that Jets roster. We went over some of the stuff at the front seven and their secondary. And you're like, Jesus Christmas, this team's loaded. And they got some skill people on offense. Now, obviously, Aaron Rodgers went down 4 snaps in. But your roster compared to their roster, it's not even on the same field. And if you go out and dismantle that team, like, that's what you're going to go in and say, this is how much coaching matters. There's a team that just should lap us on the field. And it wasn't even close today. Because we outcoached their ass. Man, what do you want? You want that or you want us? Like, that's
right,
all that. And then you're not going to decide one game on Bill anyway.
What's he going to say? Hey, we're 500 down the stretch with Bailey Zappi.
500 down the stretch. And remember, there was a lot of that. We're competitive in them one-score games. We're right there.
Yeah, great.
And who's going to buy it? Who's not going to buy it?
Well, will Robert buy it if it's an emotional plea? Here's Phil Perry and Tommy Curran, NBC Sports Boston, on if that could be the thing that saves Bill's job.
I do wonder, and I know there are people that are close to Kraft who wonder, if he can turn on the humanity in that final meeting, does that sway Robert Kraft, who not only has committed to him for another year contractually, and so will be owing him money if he does plan on firing Bill Belichick, but for someone who is, I think in a good way, an emotional person whose strength might be in his humanity. And so does he flip that switch, Bill Belichick, when he steps into his boss's office about a week from today?
I think what the Patriots need to guard against is being emotional. If you've made a decision, which, you know, all indications that I was given weeks ago are that they have, that wasn't, I'm surmising, easily arrived at. The last 6 weeks since Indianapolis and Germany have featured a 2-4 team with depressing losses and a benched quarterback and stirring performances by the defense. But it should not be so tenuous a decision that just a smile and you've been a great owner to me and I want to come back should flip everything. That to me is what is distressing about the overall future of the franchise is if you can just make a decision, flip off a decision, or flip off a decision because you're uncomfortable with it, or you're afraid of the future, or the finances might be messy, or you want to have Bill back. Those aren't the right reasons to move off of that decision.
Wink, smile. I love you, Robert. Can all of it work, Tim?
Maybe a
Can
poem.
all of it work?
Take me back.
Yeah, maybe a poem, you know?
A poem.
Yeah.
Haiku?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, what got you your woman? Like, what was your closing line? Like, what was your pickup line? Like, what closed the deal?
I think she was at a really low point in life, to be honest with you. I think there was more than that.
Are you the rebound?
Is this-
Is that what it is?
100%. I think it's
Is
just,
this a similar situation? Who's the low point here? And, you know,
yeah, maybe that's the move. But look, Patriots are at a low point right now, so you got to kind of sell yourself like Belichick. And no, I do think the sell job for Belichick coming in is that the team didn't quit down the stretch. Like, yes, we had a brutal year. It looked really bad, especially in the middle of the season. But the way we closed this thing out, I know that the offense is terrible. I will take 100% responsibility for that. We're going to get it fixed. We're going to figure this thing out. But the way the defense is playing, I think you can sell that if you're Belichick. I really do.
What if on Sunday, because this is what's so ridiculous about this, and I'm with Tommy Curran on this, the last month should not be what decides your future.
correct.
The last 6 games, even if they didn't quit, which they have not done, and their defense has played really well, that should not decide the future. That should not be enough to say that this has gone well for the last 3 or 4 years, and this is what we want to continue doing. That should not decide that. But let's say the opposite happens. They get beat by the Jets badly in no-show fashion on Sunday. Does that change your mind, Tim McCone?
If it's a lifeless performance,
Yeah.
that would sway me a little bit.
And it shouldn't, because it's one game at the end of a meaningless season. But what if that happens? Everyone's talking about, they're winning some games. They haven't quit. The defense has played well. What if they lose, 17-3 against the Jets on Sunday?
It'd be an interesting indicator as to, wow, this team knows how much this game probably meant to him. And with everything that surrounds it and potentially being his last game, last one in Foxborough, it is the Jets. And they really don't have a good quarterback, and we couldn't put a good effort out there. It's kind of a nail in the coffin, even though if you got to be consistent and say it's not 4 games that defines Bill, it's his whole tenure here, over 20-plus years. Like if you knew Brady was ready to go. You were fine letting him walk. You were fine doing the contract to allow him to become that free agent. You kind of got to be fine here to make your decision by knowing the guy that you walk hand in hand with. I mean, this guy's led your team and organization, and he sets the tone for it for 22-plus years. The fate's already, I think, been decided. But it would be not a good indicator.
Yeah.
If
Against the Jets?
If they fall flat on, the last game. I mean, it's like I said, it's gonna be a weird day. I don't anticipate a lot of booing. Don't fall flat and then start getting booed second quarter. I think people want to go and witness, this guy, if he does walk away, if they do part ways, to go see him for the last time. There's part of that draw, that gawkiness,
You going Sunday to cheer him on, Tim? You going to go?
No, I will be. I'll be watching from home.
Oh,
I'll be taking notes.
Yeah, it's going to be messy weather, too. I don't need
No.
that. No need that.
I'll be there.
You're good. Good job. Way to go. No travel this weekend for you.
No, and I got my last sit down with him before, hour and a half before the game.
Before next year.
Coffee with the coach.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Wonder what we'll talk about.
Yeah. Let's go to your calls. 617-779-0985. Mark in Florida. Hi, Mark.
Zoe, you're right, Zoe. 2 years at least for Bill. I mean, it takes 5 years to rebuild a team, and we're losing Brady. It would take other coaches 10 years. But with Bill, 5 years, we're in good shape under the cap. We got money. We got good rookies coming back from injuries. Yes, we need a few strong pieces, but they're not going to fire Bill. If you fire Bill, you're still the Patriots that he built for 20-something years. You'll become something different. And there's no staff that hasn't worked under him. So, yes, 2-3 years for Bill. He ain't going anywhere. I love you guys. Go Patriots.
All right, Mark.
10 years feels a little aggressive in terms of the rebuild post-Brady. Wouldn't love that. I know I'm on like a 7-year plan right now, but yeah, 10 years feels like a lot.
It's really one reason where you could really say that's the reason it made me really want to just rip it off and just go all new. And that's if they change that uniform. Get rid of that all blue.
So if they ditch the uniform, you're in favor of firing Bill? You'll trade those things?
I'd never be in favor of firing Bill.
All right.
Stop.
Okay.
Just make it funny.
All right. Jason's in New Hampshire. Hi, Jason.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey.
I don't know why we're not applying the same measure that Bill applies to all the players. Ask Lawyer Malloy. Ask Richard Seymour. It's all about what you did this year. Don't talk to me about the past. And he has abruptly and even rudely moved on from players, especially when they were coming up from a contract. And yet there's all this talk about his past 20 years and everything. I would show him the door Monday morning and treat him exactly the way he's treated some of the best players who've ever played for this organization.
Well, if that were true, Jason, he'd be gone 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
They want a relationship. You do that, you have no relationship.
Relationship with who?
Get out. With the coach. Like, future.
No, he's just saying it's time to let him go. He's saying that he's just saying, why does Bill get the benefit of the last 20 years? Players never get that.
Results-based business. Bill says it.
Yeah,
Results-based
I get
business.
that.
That's all he's saying.
Yeah, but Lawyer Malloy, you also had Rodney Harrison coming in, right? You had a replacement. Some of these players that you moved off of, you had replacements, or you felt good about the roster, it allowed you to do different things. You show me what your blueprint is post-Belichick that's better than what bringing Bill back is going to be. Because I don't think there is a plan in place or a scenario that's going to be an improvement over what you have, despite the record this year.
You don't think that having a new general manager run this team and make roster decisions would be better for building an offense than Bill.
I think you can reboot the offense if you bring in a guy like Josh McDaniels and restructure things on that side of the ball with Bill as your head coach, and that's your best path moving
Josh
forward.
McDaniels.
Yep.
Last year it was Bill O'Brien, which I agree with bringing him back. Now we got to bring back Josh McDaniels as well, and that will be the fix.
Josh
Why?
McDaniels.
Explain to me how that's a fix for any of this.
Josh McDaniels and an understanding that you have to reboot the offense with players.
Reboot with who?
With players. Like
which
you
players?
have to have like Mike Reese said yesterday, you have to have an 07 type offseason where you're bringing in new wide receivers, the whole thing. I think last year, honestly,
You need a quarterback.
bringing in, but yeah, you have a top 5 pick coming.
Yeah.
So you have your quarterback, go out, get him some weapons, and bring back Josh McDaniels, who had success with a young Mac Jones, a quarterback that a guy that can evaluate and groom that young quarterback. And I think you're off and running on the offensive side of the ball. I think that's a better plan than blowing everything out and restarting and bringing in a new GM.
How about bringing in a brand new offensive coordinator, someone that is not Bill's guy?
That's fine. If
Would
you
you
have
be open to that idea?
If you have faith that he can properly evaluate your young quarterback coming in, help you select the right one, and then also build an offense that's going to allow that young quarterback to be successful, sure. I just know that Josh McDaniels did it with the rookie quarterback that we now know sucks. So I have faith that he's going to be able to do that with the quarterback coming in.